Hello and welcome to our webinar today, which we hope will provide you with some hints and tips on how to manage your money, where to access help, and to show you that there is support available. My name is Sarah and I work for Citizens Advice West Suffolk, and along with my colleagues from Citizens Advice Ipswich, we hope to show you how to make your money go further. We all struggle to sleep when problems in our daily lives are worrying us. It could be your work. You may be struggling with not being paid the right amount of money. It could be problems with your contracts. You may have lost your job. It could be housing, struggling with paying the rent or the mortgage, or just problems when your landlord's not doing the repairs they're meant to do. It could be money worries and debts, and obviously more so now with the constant struggle with the cost of living. Or it could be problems with your family or relationship. Be it the end of a relationship or the start of a relationship, lots of things will keep us awake. And obviously, it could be your health. You may be struggling with health and wondering how you're going to manage if you can't work or you can't support your family. But it's really important to know there is help out there. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is ask for help. We all know that. It can be crossing that threshold, picking up that phone. It may be you don't know where to go for help. You may be embarrassed. You may not think there's any help out there, or you just may be overwhelmed by it all. At Citizens Advice, we believe that no one should have to face these problems without good quality, independent advice. And it's really important to remember that we are there to help. What does Citizens Advice do? I'm going to play a short video now to give you an idea of the people we've helped and things we do.
When I opened the letter, I just went into a panic.
What's going through my head is, can this be sorted? Can this be sorted?
I couldn't really sign on and give the declaration that I'm fit for work because I wasn't.
I was feeling really overwhelmed and as though we were going to lose everything. I didn't see a way out.
One week, my money didn't go in, so I phoned the departments up and they said, well, you've now been swapped over to universal credit. I said, but I've got no money. And they said, well, you have to wait 5 weeks now. Some weeks, it's not £30 of shopping, it's 10 tins of tomatoes and a loaf of bread and have tomatoes on toast.
My marriage broke up and everything just started going downhill. I can't read and write. I'm sinking with debt. I found myself homeless with my 11-year-old son. Around this area, there's such a demand for housing. They do not go for unwaged.
The amount of pain that I'm in is severe. I was required to go and have a health assessment. After that, they decided that I was no longer eligible to employment support allowance.
You know, it's not a big amount of money, but I do feel that companies shouldn't be allowed to treat customers this way.
I was needing to take out more credit cards and payday loans to support myself and my son. I didn't know what to do, and somebody had suggested go to Citizens Advice, they'll help you, and I'm glad I did.
After I've been to the doctors a few times, they mentioned that Citizens Advice would help me quite a lot. But it took me about 3 or 4 days going there before I actually went in.
So I phoned up and made an appointment. On the same day I went up, we filled in that many forms and she was giving me options.
Living in a rural area, to be able to phone up the Citizens Advice Consumer Helpline is great. You know, I don't have to make a big trip.
I got in touch with them online. Citizens' advice made a difference because I was able to give them all the information that they required for them to prepare the appeal papers.
I've had quite a complicated life over the last 3 years, and they have been absolutely amazing. They've got people that help with housing. I've been there, they've helped out with form filling.
The threat of that debt over me, like obviously it can affect you quite badly, constantly worrying. He made me feel very relaxed and encouraged and supported. We worked together to achieve a really fantastic solution.
This is it. This is your pay plan. Paying off your catalogue, paying off your credit card, paying off your overdraft.
The future's looking brighter with the help and support that they've given me. Now I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's a good feeling.
You've been absolutely brilliant with me, and no doubt with thousands of others. Thank you very much.
Thank you to everyone at Citizens Advice. You do a fantastic job.
Thank you, Citizens Advice, for everything you've done for me.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's from me and my
Thank you to everyone at the Citizens Advice that took the time to save my life.
There are many different ways of contacting us, and if at first you're not too sure if you want to speak to anyone to talk about it and just want some information, you can always have a look on our public website. I'll take you there now to have a look at what's available. As you can see, it's a wide range of different information, be it on benefits, work, debt and money, consumer, immigration, law and courts. There's lots of information, and it will just give you an idea of where maybe to start sometimes. You can also look for your local citizens advice in here by entering the postcode, and it will give you their contact details. Or sometimes if you want more, you can actually use the contact us form, and you'll be able to contact our consumer service by webmail, by email, our national phone lines. Lots of different things are available on our website, and if you're not too sure, it's always a good place to start. As you can see, you can also talk to us online on the website. Call our national phone line. We also accept referrals from local support agencies. Maybe you're already in talks with them. And now across Suffolk, many GP surgeries have social prescribers in place. And part of their role is to look to see if there's any support available for your issues you may be struggling with. And lastly, we do have our National Consumer Helpline. This is the first port of call for any complaints to trading standards, and you'll find the information on our website. Today we're going to talk about budgeting and where to start. When you're struggling with your money, one of the first things to look at is a budget sheet. This gives you an idea of where your money's coming in and where it's going out. We're going to look briefly at increasing your income and again at reducing your spending. And lastly, we're just going to show the help that's available both locally and nationally. Firstly, it's really important to work out where your money is going. Sometimes we all think, oh, we should have money left at the end of the month and wonder where it's gone. And one of the most useful things to do is to prepare a budget. Within this, you'll put in all your income that's coming in, be it benefits, be it money from other people, be it your wages. So that will detail everything you're receiving. Don't worry about too much detail if you're not sure of exact figures, but just put in what you can. Always useful to use your bank statements because that information will be on there, and it will also show you where you're spending your money. If after you've completed your budget, it shows that you should have money left at the end of the month and you really don't, another little tip is to think about using a spending diary. Here you can see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You can obviously, the next page would be Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And it just gives you an idea where you're spending your money. It's very easy just to buy something small and you think, oh, that's not much. It's a pound here and a pound there. But it's useful to know where there's going. If you already have online banking, you will find that many of them offer you apps which will do something very similar to this. So something to think about when you're preparing your budget. Once you know what you've got coming in and what you've got going out, it's important to make sure that you're claiming all the benefits and possibly tax credits you're entitled to. Check what benefits you can get if you're sick or disabled. Check you're being paid correctly and at least the national minimum wage. You can obviously do this with your wage slip, but if you're not sure, you can always ask us to have a look at that for you. When you're checking your benefits, if you're able to, you can use programs such as Turn to Us or Entitled to or Policy in Practice. But again, if you're not sure, you can always contact us and we can look at that for you. If you're not able to work due to ill health or you've not worked for a while, it's always worth checking other benefits you may be able to receive, such as personal independence payments, or if you're above pension age, you may want to look at attendance allowance. Really important to check that you're getting all the help. Find those staying with you. Help by contributing to your bills. It's really hard when you have families and maybe your adult children are working, but they need to know how much help you need and it's if you're struggling. Find out about claiming child maintenance. It is always a sensitive issue, but it's really important that you look at this. Check if you can get any help with school costs, obviously travelling to school or free school meals. Check if you can get help with childcare costs. You may be working and thinking, oh, I'm not entitled to anything, but you may be entitled to some help that way. Next, we're going to look at reducing your outgoings. First things first, council tax is a huge bill every month and it's definitely worth checking if you're entitled to pay less. You could be the only adult and entitled to a 25% discount, or it could be you are entitled to some benefits. Again, going back to that benefit check should show that. Check if there are any direct debits going out of your bank account for unused services. Are you still paying for a gym membership? Are you still paying a mobile phone contract where actually you've paid for the phone and now you're just paying for your usage? Look at saving money on your gas and electricity. This is really hard at the moment because there's not a lot of deals, and obviously it's part of the whole issue with the cost of living rises. So have a look, make sure you're not paying too much. Think about how you can reduce your usage in the property. Check if you could save money on your water bills. Sometimes if you're not already on a meter, you may be able to save money by moving to a meter. It's really important to remember once you've moved to a water meter, you can't go back. It could be due to ill health, you might be entitled to things like light tariffs that may be able to help you. Always check these things. If you're online, a lot of this information is available on our website, but if you can't, please do contact us and we can look at that for you. Check if you could pay less for your TV license. Check the way you pay for your TV license. It's really important to remember you do need one if you're watching live TV, but if you're one of the many people now that don't watch live TV, definitely worth checking to see if you need it or not. Save money on travel costs. You may be entitled to bus passes. You may be able to get cheaper savings on travelling at different times. All things to think about. Save money on NHS prescriptions. If you're not already entitled to free NHS prescriptions, it's always worth checking if you're buying prescriptions regularly, if it's worth doing a prepayment, which means you will pay a standard amount for the year and it doesn't matter how many prescriptions you have. Switch to a cheaper broadband phone or TV deal. These things are still out there. Definitely worth checking to see if you're paying too much for your Sky account or your Netflix, etc. Look at seeing if you can move to a better deal, an inclusive deal, separate deal. Again, with broadband and phone, definitely looking like that. If you're on benefits, you may be able to get a cheaper deal with BT and other service providers. Once you've looked at your main expenses, it's then time to cut back on your day-to-day spending. Think about walking or cycling to work when the weather is good, or organising a car share with a work colleague. The prices at the petrol pumps are an all-time high, so this is something that will definitely help your budget. Don't shop when you're hungry. You're likely to buy more if you do. And find out when items are reduced at your local supermarkets. Many of the supermarkets do this at the end of the day and will have a special area within the store where you can find all the things they've reduced. Think about coupons and discounts available, both at supermarkets and other stores. A lot of organisations now have loyalty cards, and as long as these are free, it's always worth looking to see if you can gain by it. Consider supermarket own brands. Many of them are just as good as some of the name brands and will very much save you money. Take lunch to work instead of buying it. It's just something to be more planning needed, but it really will save you money. And make a meal planner for the week and only buy what you need. And of course, put together a shopping list before you go shopping. The government has also announced extra help with your energy bills for this coming winter. All UK households will get a grant which will reduce energy bills by £400 from October. This will not need to be repaid, unlike the previously announced £200 grant. A £650 payment will be made to households on means-tested benefits. This will be paid in 2 equal payments. There will also be help for those on disability benefits such as PIP or attendance allowance, and they will receive £150 in September, which may be on top of the £650 benefit if they're on means-tested benefits. Pensioners will get money for the winter fuel bills, and households that already receive the winter fuel payment will receive an extra £300 in November or December. Always remember there is help available. It could be you could get a grant from a charity or benevolent fund if you're struggling. There's local welfare assistance grants from Suffolk County Council. Food banks are available, and also fuel vouchers if you're on a prepayment meter. It's important to remember there is help available, and Citizens Advice offer free, independent and impartial help to everyone. Please do contact us if you need any help.
Thank you for that, Sarah. My name is Sally Harrison and I work at Citizens Advice in Ipswich. And I'm going to be talking to you today about social prescribing. So first of all, I'm going to be describing about social prescribing that we provide here in Ipswich, and it's branded the Connect for Health project. I'm also going to talk about our Welcome Home project that we are operating out of Ipswich Hospital. And finally, I'm going to be talking about the Long COVID project that we're running out of Ipswich, Colchester and West Suffolk Hospital. So, social prescribing, how did this all come about? So it was about 3 years ago we provided some statistics to the NHS and discovered that 17% of people in the UK were going to the NHS, that's either their GP or through A&E in the hospital, with a non-medical condition. When we ran the figures for Ipswich, this jumped to a rocketing 43%. It's recognised that only 10% of somebody's overall health and well-being is their clinical condition. All the other things that are going on in people's lives affects them an awful lot more. Sleep deprivation is a major factor, as not having enough good quality sleep affects people both physically and mentally. This situation was putting a huge strain on our NHS system, and often clinical clinicians were not the best placed people that could help with all of these other issues that people were facing. Often the clinicians were dealing with the symptoms. For instance, if somebody was presenting to them and they couldn't sleep, they were prescribing them with some sleeping pills. But the underlying cause was not being addressed. For instance, it could be a case that they weren't sleeping because of money worries, they had some relationship problems or housing issues, or all of the other things that affect people and affect their ability to actually get a good night's sleep. Therefore, they were returning to the NHS time and time again, and they were continually being prescribed the tablets in order to help them with their symptom, but the underlying cause wasn't being addressed. That's where we come in. So I'm now going to play you a short video to hopefully highlight to you about what social prescribing is all about.
Many things affect your health and well-being. GPs tell us that a lot of people visit them feeling isolated, lonely, or stressed out by work, money, and housing problems. These are issues that can't be fixed by doctors and medicine alone. At its most basic, a social prescription offers the kind of help that doesn't come in a tube or a bottle. The idea behind social prescribing is to help you to have more control over your healthcare and find ways to manage your needs in a way that suits you. There are lots of different ways of providing social prescribing services. it often starts with a conversation, perhaps with a link worker, a support broker, or a community navigator. Whatever they are called, they are there to listen to you and put you in touch with whatever it is you might need in order to feel better. That might mean being introduced to a community group, a new activity, or a local club. It could be legal advice, volunteers to help around the house. It might just be information and guidance, a bit of inside knowledge on your situation and what local resources there are available. It could even be some support in how to create something new. Studies show that individuals with social prescriptions get better and feel better faster than those treated with medicine alone. And because it works, it's happening more and more. To find out how it can work for you, talk to your doctor, health professional, or local authority today.
So hopefully that video explained a little bit more about what social prescribing is about. So how can we help? We can help with all of these different issues. They're explained briefly in the video there. So Sarah talked about some of these issues before, but we can help with money worries, with employment issues, with family issues, including births and bereavement, housing problems. But also what social prescribing does is helping people to connect to local organisations that can help with things like loneliness, social isolation, activity groups to help people keep moving, groups where you can help meet friends, or maybe to attend some coaching sessions because of employment issues, or you've had to change career for whatever reason that may be. So you can access the service through your surgery or from a third party, for example, Adult Community Services or other voluntary organisations, or you can refer yourself using our website, where there is a link to an online form to complete. We will hold an initial meeting with you to find out what's really important to you and what you would like some help or support with. We'll then explore all of the different options and the consequences of those options. We don't tell you what to do, that's your choice. We're just there to help you make an informed choice about your overall health and well-being. We'll then agree an action plan that is tailored and individual to you, and we'll carry out regular follow-up meetings to see how things are going and if the plan needs to be adjusted at all. And at the end of our work together, we'll look back and see what you've achieved. And then if there's any other further help and support you need, we'll do that at that stage. So just to show you how we can help somebody, this is a case study that we did. And we'll change the person's name for this and we'll call this person Susan. So Susan, she lived with her mum in Ipswich and worked at a local school. Susan's mum was very ill, so she had to take a lot of time off work to look after her mum. And in the end, she lost her job as she couldn't balance the caring role that she had, looking after her mum and holding down her job at the same time. Sadly, not long after this, Susan's mum passed away. And the home that Susan lived in was in her mum's name. The tenancy was in her mum's name. And as she didn't have a job, the tenancy was ended. So this unfortunately made Susan homeless. She lived in a van and sofa surfed with friends, but then her van was burgled and she lost all of her possessions. So after this, she got herself a dog from the rescue centre to protect her and her belongings. And this dog became Susan's friend, but it was the only person that she could really depend upon. A very important animal in her life. Susan was on medication for her mental health, and her GP suggested that she talk to one of our advisors. So when we first met up with Susan, we found out that she didn't think she was entitled to any benefits as she had lost her job. But our advisor helped to navigate her around all the welfare benefits that she was entitled to and helped her to make the relevant claims. Our advisor then also spoke to the local council on Susan's behalf, and with the help of a housing association, they managed to negotiate a flat for Susan where she could take her beloved dog. Susan's now moved into a new home. She's actively seeking work, and I'm very, very pleased to say that she's off all of her medication that she was having to take for her mental health. So that hopefully gives you an idea of how we put the person at the centre of everything that we do, and we join up all the dots for them to make sure all of the help that they need is done in one place for the person. So now I'd like to move on and talk about our Welcome Home project, and this is about helping people to get home quickly when they've been medically discharged from hospital. So why do patients find it hard to return home after being in hospital? Well, sometimes they haven't got a support blanket. They've got no relatives or friends nearby. The home they live in might not be suitable for them now. They might be at the top of a block of flats, and actually what they actually need is a ground floor property. The hospital stay has meant that they don't have access to the income that they did before. They might not be able to work. It might be just for a period of time, or it might be a case that it's a permanent issue, that they're not going to be able to do the job that they were employed to do. They might not have any friends that could just keep an eye on them and pop round to make sure that they're okay during their recuperation. And a lot of the time people are really, really worried and anxious about how they're going to cope when they actually get home. So how does the project work? Well, we've got our advice and support coordinators, and they meet with patients in the hospital once the clinicians have said that that's okay to do so, but we meet with people at their entry into the hospital. So this is at the emergency assessment unit, and we find out at that point what's already in place for the person and any potential gaps that might appear and be a barrier for them to actually return home. We work closely with the medical staff and the patient and their family to develop a personalised care plan for that individual. We work with all of the other wonderful organisations also in the hospital, such as the Red Cross and the Discharge Hub, to ensure that everyone is doing their bit at the right time to help the patient get home when the time comes. So when it's time for the person to go home, we can also then warmly hand them over to the social prescriber in their local community for any further ongoing help and support that might be needed. As a result, the person and their family will feel calmer during their stay in hospital, and the person in hospital can concentrate on getting better rather than worrying about what's going to happen to them when they leave. So what will this service do for me? We have seen that it gives the person an improved experience overall in the hospital. The person feels that they're really being listened to, and our advice and support coordinators will review the plan all the time that the person is in hospital and follow them from ward to ward when they get moved on. By doing this, we are reducing their anxiety and the anxiety of their family, so that the person feels that things are being handled in a timely manner and things are being put in place, rather than it being a huge rush at the end when the person has been medically discharged. So that when the doctor or the consultant says you're fit to go home, everything is in place. By doing this, we make sure that you don't have to stay in hospital a day longer than it is necessary. and we make sure that you feel supported when you get home. So rather than just being left to your own devices after you've been discharged from hospital, the plan is then handed over to the social prescribers in the local community. Finally, I'd just like to talk about our long COVID project. So we're working with Ipswich, Colchester and West Suffolk Hospital with the long COVID clinics to help people with their non-clinical issues they're facing as a result of having long COVID. These are typically helping people with benefits that they may be entitled to as a result of their diagnosis, helping people with appropriate housing, work-related issues, as often patients are not able to do the job that they were trained for or employed to do, and this might be just a short-term measure or it could be a permanent one. So by doing all of this, we're trying to put the person at the centre, and we're working in the hospital so that their clinical work is being done by all the clinical teams, but we're able to work alongside them in order to help sort out all of the other issues that somebody is facing as a result of long COVID. So thank you very much for listening to myself and Sarah. Just to reiterate what Sarah said before, Citizens Advice, we're here for you. So remember that we're here to help you with any problem that you face, and you do not have to face them alone. Thank you very much, and I wish you a good day.